You know, I I am your regular human being who grew up in a family that used to say you always have to strive to get the best for yourself. You have to strive to make what you have work for yourself. There have been many times that people have said, oh, why don't you go and do this? That you may be able to, you may take advantage of that. And I'm like, that is not what I know how to do. What I know how to do is to make things work and make them work for myself, right? So I took all of that and I started out in business. So I started out in business. I was helping other people grow their businesses, helping people manage their businesses, which means that I've worked in various roles, including customer service, strategy, admin, commercial business, and all of that. I got introduced to real estate when I was still working in one of my last jobs. And then the deal was you could do real estate on the side. Now, in that time, everybody was so, yes, you had to have a second income. You had to have it this. You had to have side business, side hustle, main job, main whatever. Look, in as much as all of those things are true, that you cannot survive on one income, right? The truth of the matter is that you have to understand the ones that become truly passive. You have to understand the ones that just work without you touching. And then you have to have the ones that you are working directly. Now, let me just assume that everybody here has either a job or a business or something that pays you basic. That's your first job. That's your main hustle. I'm going to assume that. So what you want to learn how to do is how to make other things work for you. One of them would be real estate, and that's where we're going to go into today. Now, a lot of you already, I'm assuming from the questions, that you already understand that there is land, there are houses, there are apartments, there are, so all of those would be residential. Then you also have the shops, the offices, the malls, which would also fall under commercial real estate. And then you also then have the shortlets, as we are all used to hearing, oh, shortlets are the magic and wonder of this world. And then the one thing that I know that not too many people understand or appreciate is the fact that real estate is the tool. In as much as all of these things have their names, the baseline for which they all work is the fact that there is a real estate asset that people are using. If you can think about that and you remember that what you're always having to look for when you're buying real estate is the fact that people can consistently, remember that word, consistently pay you rent, then you will be on your path to creating wealth. Now, why do I emphasize the word consistently? I emphasize it because I'm saying that for you to be able to create wealth, it means that not one person paying you one time today, one time in 3 months' time, one time in 6 months' time is what's going to build you wealth. No, that's not going to build you wealth. It is having many people or that one person paying you rent or paying you for your real estate as consistently as possible. In business real estate, we call that occupancy, which means that you want to ensure that people are in your property as often as possible. They are paying you your property as often as possible. And if you're to look at it on a percentile basis, that means that you are pushing the occupancy of your real estate to as high as possible, to 100% as you can. So if anyone were to ask me, what are the ways that you can build wealth through real estate? I'm going to explain 3 or 4 of them just so that I can talk through each one as much as possible, as well as give you use cases, scenarios for which they work and why they work and why they will work and they are working right now. Because people believe that what used to work 20 years ago is going to work today. Not necessarily. And the reason for that is simple. The needs, the behaviors, the thinking, the rationale of the people that use real estate has changed. So if if we were to think about it, I was going to ask that what age range, but I said let's just leave that. I'm also now assuming that we have people who are between 25 to 40, thereabouts. Please, if anybody's above 40, just please say hi so that I can know that and I can also address that age group, please. And please, this is no slander to anyone because I mean I'm above 40 and I'm very proud of it. So people don't look at that and say, oh, I'm trying to just know. Oh, below 25. Hey, yes. Hi, Abike. How are you? Yes, okay. So I get that. Okay, fine. Okay, so I'm going to widen that gap a bit. Babalola, I mean, kudos to you. I love the fact that you are younger and oh my God, Ada Obi, wow. See, this is what I'm saying. Like there are those of you that are here. Some of you are below 25 and you want to learn this thing. Like I'm happy, really happy. So I'm gonna change it to about 20, and I'm doing that because I'm saying that we need to be able to help you to make the most of it, right? So if you have been, in the world and you've seen how older people have invested, you have seen them go and buy land, you've seen people go, parents go and say, I want to have multiple lands and I want to have this and I'm going to build on in future and I'm going to this and I'm going to that. If I were to ask you now, how many of all of those people have, one, built on those lands, two, made money from those lands, or three, been able to successfully sell many of those lands? If anyone had, please, as we're going, please just drop the answers to whatever. I'm happy to just be reading half and half, so please just drop them. The number of people who have been able to build on these lands has reduced. Those that have built on their lands are either doing it because they say that's where they're going to move to, or they just came about some money that they said, oh, they want to be able to know that they have built on their land to be able to give their kids. But the truth of the matter is that that number is dwindling. Now, this does not mean that land does not still make money. It does make money. However, you have to be very strategic about it. And I'll talk through a scenario through which you can make money through lands. I mean, even though we are between the ages of 20 and 45 or 50, right? 50 will be a bit dicey, but then we can work with that, right? Now, if you want to use lands to create wealth, what you're going to have to do will differ from what everybody who is buying lands will do. First things first, you can't buy cheap land. And I'll say that again. You cannot buy cheap land if you know that you want to go and use land to create wealth. And I'll explain what I mean by saying that cheap land will fall in the category of all those 1 million naira land, 2 million naira land, 3 million naira land. You can't create wealth through those lands. And the reason is because all of those lands are in locations that need a minimum of 10 to 15 years and a lot of probability for them to appreciate. Let's take Lagos, for example. I noticed that there were a lot of us that were in Lagos. We take Lagos, for example, the Ibeju-Lekki area, near Dangote Refinery, and all that. There are people that I know that have bought land since when I started real estate about 12 years ago. And today they can't sell those lands because those lands, yes, the developers say that they have increased in price, but there's nothing that's going to drive new people to that area. So what have they done? They have locked their money. Their money is just there sitting in that asset, and it literally is not giving them value. If I were to go back in time and change any of those decisions, I would not be talking, oh, Ibeju-Lekki or whatever. I wouldn't have bought land in those areas if I could go back in time. But that is then. And today is today. Now, what if I buy cheap land, but for agricultural purposes? That is a different case. That is a different, that's a different use case. And yes, it would work, right? Because what you're doing is that you are buying the land for something else, right? So as we go along, you'd see what I mean by saying that if you want to be able to use real estate to create wealth, I mean, there are multiple ways. And doing something like this is one of the ways that I'm going to come to. But yes, thank you for this question. This definitely means that we're on the right track. So I wouldn't buy cheap land to say, oh, I'm going to build on it, or I'm going to resell it later and all that and all that. Another reason why I wouldn't go that route and expect that you are going to use it to create wealth is the fact that you who is buying cheap land and saying that you are going to buy it now and then you will sell it later, you're probably buying one plot of land, not 6, not 12. So that means that you have one plot of land, the same as one plot of land that like 1 million other people have. What are the chances of you then knowing that your own one plot of land is what it is that somebody else will come and buy at the time that you want to appreciate the price? There may be 1 million of you that are ready to sell your land. And that means that you have 1 million people who are playing the price war with that person that says that they want to buy your land. That person would probably also be looking for land that they want to develop. So they're probably looking for 3 plots of land. So the person, automatically, what you've done is that you have knocked yourself out of that. However, if you want to use land to create wealth, what you should do is to go to an area that is starting to develop, an area that is starting to gain attention, an area that is not that cheap, not that expensive, but it holds attention. And you know that in 2, 3, 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, people are going to want land in that area. Then when you go there and you buy a minimum of 2 plots or 3 plots, minimum. If you can buy 6, all well and good. Now, remember when I said that we were talking to people who are in the age group of between 20 and 45. Now, if we were to relate that backwards to land, the cost of land in those locations may deter you, which means that you as one person may not be able to afford that land. And I'll tell you the story of Songo Tedo. Today, Songo Tedo in many areas is selling for as high as 50 million, 60 million, thereabout per plot. But in 2022, later in the year, like the 4th quarter, I had a client who came together with their friends, with his friends, and said, oh, so we're looking for land that is cheap, but that we can buy and we would sell in a short period of time. What we want to do is we want to store the value of our money in that land and then use it to probably buy something else or go into a development. So you see, that brief came with specific requests. And the reason why that brief came with specific requests was because, one, that person had taken a strategy call with me to understand things that they could do to use to create wealth. So the person had a baseline understanding of what they could do, should do, and could be looking to do. So that person got 3 friends together, there were 3 of them, and they bought land in Songo Tedo at that time for 25 million per plot. So they bought 3.5 plots, which came to about 90 million. And then they kept the 3 plots there. In 6 months, they had 10 people come and ask them to buy that land. So what could and should have been them waiting to see what value that they could get for their land became a situation where people who were interested then came. Now, guess what? In 6 months, land that they bought for 80 million, people were pricing at 130. What's the difference? Songo Tedo did not change. All that changed was time. It was time, it was the size of land, and it was the location that land was in. That land was in an estate that initially did not have infrastructure, did not have electricity pulled to it, and they bought in and they waited. Once the estate got the electricity pulled in so people could then connect to electricity, they were able to grade the road, the place became appealing, and people came in and were literally wanting to buy into that area. Now, somebody is asking, can you buy land without money? Please define what you mean by without money so that I can know how to answer that question in full. Now that was that, right? Now they took their 80 million. In 6 months, they were able to turn it to 140 million. They took their 140 million and they got an offer on a flat that was in development by somebody who had keyed in initially and needed money. So it was a distress sale. They keyed in, and mind you, I said a flat in Lekki 1. So they took their 140 million and went to buy a flat in Lekki 1 that, because it was a distress sale, they were able to spend only 110 million on the flat in Lekki 1. Now, that was last year, March, thereabouts, that they bought that flat. Today, that flat that they bought in Lekki 1 is not completed. It's be completed in about 2 months, but the value of that flat is 250 million. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'm explaining the concept of not buying land that is cheap, buying land in a location that works, and 3, knowing where and when it is that you need to be able to move from point 1 into point 2, when you know that you want to use it to create wealth. So in as much as they came in and they bought that land, they moved into buying an apartment, what they've done with their money is they have literally tripled their money in less than 2 years. Now, was that money one person's money? No, it was 4 people's money. So 4 people essentially own the capital that has gone into all of this. But the 4 of them now have more money, which means that the 4 of them have more wealth than they had when they first had that cash. And all of this brings them to this point that they are at today with 250 million worth of assets that they are looking to sell currently. They want to sell it and go and do a small development that they will add more money into, and then they will sell and keep growing. So with land, with any form of real estate, you have to keep an open mind and be strategic at every step of the way that you are going into. Please, if you, Edwin, can you please explain your can I buy land without money question so that I can touch on, I can address it in full, and then we go. Okay, can I buy land without money? I mean, being a realtor, are there opportunities of one owning land, either using a mortgage bank or being a middle partner in a real estate deal? Can I broaden more on such opportunities? Okay, quick answer to your question. Can you buy land with a mortgage? No, you can't buy land with a mortgage. A mortgage is a loan that is given to you because you either want to acquire a house or you want to build on your land. So that means that you must have a baseline first. You must have some equity contribution in the entire value chain of that opportunity before they will come and give you that loan. So if we're going to talk about how it is and one can use mortgages, I mean, that's a totally different conversation that I hope that we can have a discussion on later, because that is now something that is currently working for people that want to own homes or want to be able to also use real estate separately, right? Maybe if we have enough time, we can touch on that. And we can have that conversation too, right? As a realtor, can you do it being a middle partner in a real estate deal? If you're strategic enough, yes, you can. Reason being that the way you would structure that deal is that you would structure it such that somebody owns the land. You, as a real estate person, you have the what we call the sweat equity. That is you're the brain to put in the entire thing, putting the entire deal together, and then somebody has the finances, or you even are the one that is able to bring other people with the finances. That means that, again, you would have to structure that deal very properly to make sure that your value is seen and is appreciated in the deal. You would have a stake. It may not be as equal as everybody else's own, but again, it's all about negotiation. But if you want to do that and you are a realtor, I would advise you that you go and get some additional training as relates to being a broker and also understanding financial analysis so that you can truly bring your value to that deal, right? So that way you would at least be able to get into that kind of opportunity. What do I think about getting land in an estate where you are asked to pay instrumentally, paying instrumentals while the estate is supposed to be used for agriculture, and you won't get ROI until the trees start producing fruit for oil, which is in 3 years. Okay. So we're back to this. Sorry, are you the same person? Okay, no, you're not the same person that asked about the agriculture. Okay, so this one that you've described is a totally different situation, right? Now, let us get to a point in this session, and then if you don't mind, you can come up and then we can actually have, because it's better if we're having a conversation about it and then we can break it down. I'm not going to be able to tell you do this, do that, because I try not to tell people that. And the reason for that is because I have one principle. When I'm helping you work through real estate, I don't make decisions for you. You will make your decisions because you are investing for yourself. I will guide you through the process. I will help you understand what works. I'll help you understand what loopholes can be. I'll help you understand what the opportunities could be. And then you will think through it, and then we will come to a conclusion, right? So this is how, this is how I say that people who are going to be investors should start to be able to make their decisions. It's why I created my community. It's why I talk about real estate the way that I talk about it. I mean, people have looked at my page and my content and they've said, you hardly sell directly on your page. And I say, because I don't sell on Instagram. I don't sell on social media. I sell a bit, but my goal is not necessarily to sell on social media. People will find me, people will come and consult with me, and people will buy from me. I can advertise and tell you what opportunities are there, but there is so much happening in between the entire process that people just need to be able to understand that better. So that is my approach, and that's how I've worked through it, and that's how I've gotten to where I am at. So yes, I'll be happy to do that with you if you'd like be able to come up on this call. So let's go to the next way it is that people can create wealth. We've talked about land. The next one that we're going to talk about now is apartments, right? Now, every time people think about homes, so they say, oh, want to build homes, I want to buy home, I want to do this. There are various reasons why people will buy homes. You can buy a home because you say you want a home that you can live in. You can buy a home because you say you want a home that you're going to put out on the market. You can want a home because you say you want to be able to resell it. All three reasons are valid, right? Especially if you're in the wealth building cycle. And people say, oh, that the home that you live in becomes a liability every time that you buy it. I don't believe that it becomes a liability every time that you buy it. Why? Because there are certain things in each person's wealth journey and financial journey that you need to be able to check off at any given point in time. One of them could be the fact that, one, you want to be able to save money, which means that when you're buying a home for yourself that you're going to live in, the way, for the purpose of you saving money or being able to, keep your expenses lower, there are different ways, it's a different strategy through which you would find the home. The type of home that you would be looking for in that instance would be the bare minimum, a small home in the area that would serve you the most, or a big home that you can then live in a smaller part of the home and you're renting out the bigger part of the home. So even though you own the home, the entire home, you're probably living in the BQ, which will be like a self-contained or a studio or something, but then you're renting out the main house. Now in Nigeria, that's not something that is very common because people feel, oh, they buy a home, they're living in the main part of the house. Why? Please, if you're building wealth, you will make every sacrifice that you need to be able to make to be able to achieve your goals. I'm all for that. And that is the best way to go, because if you don't do that, all you're going to find is that you are living your life for other people. And that is not freedom. You want to be financially free. You want to be able to grow to a point where at a certain point, you have so much money that you're able to have and make decisions just because that's what you want to be able to do, right? So if you're going to say you're buying a home because you need to be able to save money, there's a different way in which you go about the home buying process. Now, if you come into it and you say you want to buy a home that you would put out on the market, the buying process also is is different. Now, the buying process for when you're going to buy a home that you're going to put out on the market to rent would include the fact that, one, you are buying it as cheap as possible, which means that you are either buying it early or you're getting a deal or you're negotiating for it, or you're negotiating for a deal that makes sure that it is viable for you. The next thing that you'd also be looking at is the location that that home is in. Now, today, everybody wants a house in Lekki. Like, they want to own a home in Lekki. But see, every home in Lekki currently, rents are jumping. Rents are jumping. People are poorer. Does that say anything to you? Like, if we were to sit down and think about the fact that if everybody is feeling the pinch of this inflation and people are going to start tightening their expenses, what do you think is going to be one of the first things that they will do? If you name 5, let's drop it in the comment section. Let's think through this together, guys. If people have to tighten their expenses, what are the things that people are going to do if they are going to be trying to tighten the expenses? Sorry, I'm looking at this. You say, so you're going to take me back. Yes, so I'm going to talk about that later. We agreed that we're gonna, Chioma, yes, I'm gonna talk about that. We're gonna literally break down that whole analysis, but I'm not gonna tell that person what to do. We will talk through what can be done, and then that person will come to a conclusion. What I think is what I think, but I mean, I can help you think through it. Absolutely, you're going to cut down on luxury. You're going to move to a cheaper place. You're going to reduce this restaurant expense. Thank you very much. So if rent in Lekki is getting more expensive, tell me, would people go and start continually renting in Lekki? When we all know for a fact that people have less money, want to spend less money, they want to start pruning down. So if you are a new investor and you're going in, then why do you still want to go into Lekki? Like, when I sit down and I tell people this thing, they think, and I say, if you want to do investment, don't go and buy a house in Lekki. I say it all the time now. Like, it's so rampant that I say, don't go and buy a house in Lekki. If you're buying a house in Lekki, be very, very strategic about it. And that means that you're buying that house in Lekki probably because you also want to be able to stay in it, and that's where your life is. So when you're coming into the whole real estate investment cycle, and you are looking for how it is that you're going to make money, please, please, and please remove yourself, remove your ego, remove your, this looks good, this feels good, because that mentality is the first and fastest way to make sure that you don't make money. Am I saying that apartments in Lekki don't make money? That's not what I'm saying. They do make money. But for somebody who is going into real estate now, you want to go into real estate now, please don't go into Lekki, or pause on going into Lekki. And I'll tell you for the reason here. The reason is that, just like we have agreed here, you're saying people are going to reduce their cost of living. People are going to cut down expenses. They're going to stop giving money out freely and all of that. That means that they want to spend more efficiently. There are people that are moving out of Lekki and they are moving to the mainland. There are people that are moving out of Lekki 1 or Sapa Ikate, and they are moving to Ologolo. They are moving to Chevron. They are moving to what? So you, as a new investor, when you now say you want to go and be buying house and buying property that you are going to put up for rent, you are literally setting yourself up to go into bigger competition. Why go into competition? Go out of the competition, go the other way, come to the mainland. And I say come to the mainland because on the mainland, there are less developers. And see, guys, I'm telling you people these things because I'm open and bearing it all up. And this is because I'm saying, this is the only way that we make wealth. When people tend to gatekeep, people tend to this, everybody will just be looking at each other. You can tell me you want to buy a house in Lekki. I said, okay, no problem. Mine is to sell your house, Abi, but that's not my goal. My goal is to help you make sure that you are making money. So I'll tell you, on the mainland, there's less competition. On the mainland, there are less developers. On the mainland, there's less supply. On the mainland, there are less options. there are less of newer houses, which means that one, there's an opportunity for people who want to come in and want to be able to build or own homes that people would, you know how people used to gobble up food that you want, like they rush it, you rush it as it's hot. That's what's happening on the mainland. You buy on the main, there's certain things that you buy on the mainland, your advertising is not even going to be long. The house is gone. You know, you say what, like developers, I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. Like developers, please, or are you saying gifting money out? Like, I don't know. Please just explain so I can come to that, right? So when you want to now do that, I tell people, I say, be very strategic about where it is that you're going to go and invest in homes that you're going to buy so that you can rent them out. Think about not what you're buying, not how much it is that people can pay you, but who it is that can pay you for that rent, for that property, and how consistently can they pay you for that property. There are people on the island, I'll make an example. 2 clients bought properties on the island. One bought around Orchid Road. He went and said, they had the same amount of money. He went and said, that he wants to buy property, blah, blah, blah. He came, he had 150 million. So sorry, they didn't have the same amount of money to spend at that time, but they had the same budgets, right? They first came with 50-50. That one now said no, that he wants to go to Orchid. They told him, they said, Orchid is more expensive, right? And he said, that he wants a terrace. Now got to Orchid, saw what he liked, and he coughed out 75 million times 2. That's 150 million. His friend went to Ilason. At that time, a 2-bedroom flat in Ilason was selling for 48 million. And he paid for his 48 million naira flat. His friend bought the 2 units of terrace flats, 3 bedrooms, and he thought that, yes, he was ready to start running. By the time they finished the terrace flats, and they were not yet done with the flats, those terrace flats were still on the market. There was 6 months between when that flat, the terraces got finished and the flat got finished. And in that 6 months, that person who bought 2 units didn't get a tenant. The one who was building, by the time they were doing finishing, he had 3 people come and say they wanted to rent his flat. What's the difference? On paper, they're both in Lekki. On paper, one has 3 bedroom, one has 2 bedroom. Please, why do you think that happened? Sorry, again, that's a question. So if you think about it, you get it, please just drop it in the comments. Why do you think that happened? Okay, so I'm saying that 2 people set out to buy property. One person went and bought terrace flats in Orchid that got completed 6 months before the person who bought the 2-bedroom flat in Ilason got completed. So terrace flats were completed 6 months before. 2-bedroom flat got completed 6 months after. But the owner of the terrace flat didn't get tenants even up to the time when the 2-bedroom flat was completed. But the person with the 2-bedroom flat, by the time they were completing it, had 3 people who were willing to pay rent. Why do you think that happened? Rent is too much because he wants to cover investment. That's one way of looking at it. Yes, there's another one. There's another reason why. Anybody else want to try? Anybody? Come on, people. Come on, people. Interactive session. I think it's because people who think terrace aren't thinking of renting, possibly. I think it's because the 2-bedroom flat was more desirable and easy to pay off than the terrace apartment. Location. That's it. Location. Not attractiveness, not whatever. Location changed it. Location changed it. If you're saying, that it was cheaper than the 3-bedroom, they came at the same rents. They came at the same rent. Three-bedroom terrace in Orchid was going out for about 3.54 million at that time. The two-bedroom flats was going out for 3.5 million. So price was literally the same. What was different was location. That's it. So when I say be strategic, when you're thinking of renting, you are thinking of people that want to rent because they want to stay in certain places. Edwin, I'm sorry, please tell me which city you are in, and I will try. I mean, I know some cities, I know real estate in some cities, I'll try, but I apologize. So if you're thinking of the different areas, right, Edwin, for example, Ilasan is way closer to Lekki and VI and Ikoyi, which is where people mostly work. And Orchid Road is further down, right? So what I'm saying is that location was what was the difference. The two areas kind of have similar infrastructure development levels and all of that, but there is more demand for housing in the Lekki axis. And this is something that you have to go in, you have to think about when you're thinking about where it is that you want to buy real estate to be able to rent. Renting real estate is not about you. It's about who you want to serve and how fast it is or how much demand it is that you have for those apartments so that you will be able to get those people in, right? If you are then going to think about buying real estate because you say you want to resell it, then you also have to think very strategically and say, where can people be able to either afford to buy my real estate, or they would very quickly be able to take it on for themselves. They either want to take it on as an investment for themselves, or they also want to take it on as a home. So being strategic with how you think about the real estate that you're going into has to essentially take on multiple factors. The first thing that I always tell my clients to do, and I say, think like the people who are going to take on or buy or rent your property. Think like them. What makes that area appealing to them? Why would they want to stay in that area? If they need to stay in that area, why will they choose your property over the other person's property? Once you can answer these questions when you're in that whole process, then chances that your property is going to go off the market or be occupied in as short a time frame as possible is always going to make your investment a winner. People go into investing for real estate thinking, oh, I want to do it because I want people to be paying me 10 million, 20 million all at once. That person who pays you 10 million at once is probably not going to be able to pay you that 10 million next year. So why are you not taking a property that people have to pay you 6 million, but they will be fighting over themselves to pay you that 6 million? You're getting 6 million consistently, and the person who gets 10 million this year and doesn't get it for the next 4 months and then gets it for the next one already is at a loss. Your 6 million is consistent. By the time you map out 5 years, you would have earned the same thing because that person will probably get their own real estate, their own rent 3 times in 5 years, where you would also have gotten yours 3 times in 5 years. But then that person's investment would have been more than yours, which means that you guys have spent different amounts of money to get back the same amount of money, right? So these things take calculation, and I hope that some of you would take the offer to join my community and start to learn some of these things, because it's definitely not something we can talk about in one night, and that we can go through all of that. So this way we've talked about those 3 ways that you can use properties to essentially build wealth. That is you buying to live, buying to rent, buying to resell. Now, there's another thing about buying to resell that also works, but that one works for people who have cash to tie down. So a lot of times I offer that to people, high net worth individuals who say they have a chunk of cash to be able to do that. But if we are talking here as a community, then yes, that may be something that you can think that you can consider as a community or as a group, right? And what this is that when you get a project where maybe they're just starting, they're able to offer you the off-plan prices or a deal or a distress sale, and you see a property that has more than one unit, if you can take more than one unit, take more than one unit. And the reason for that is because one, when you're buying more than one unit, your leverage to negotiate the price would essentially be better than somebody who is paying for one unit. That's number one. Number two, when you're buying more than one unit, it means that when the property appreciates, that you would then be able to either sell one unit and still have the second one to rent, but when you sell that other unit, you probably have paid literally the price of the two. So typical example, this person who took the 2-bedroom flat, for example, imagine that person bought 2 units of the 2-bedroom flat. By the time the 2-bedroom flats were completed, they were 90 million each. So if he now had his 2 units of 2-bedroom flats that he bought at 45 million each, that means he paid 90 million for the 2, and then he sold 1, he would have made his total money for that 2 units by selling 1. And he can keep the second one, and he can keep building wealth. So I hope that, I hope you understand that. See, these are things that I'm giving you guys for free, that I sit down and I basically talk through with all my clients and say, this is how we're going to do it. Strategy sessions help to bring it out. But I'm telling you people all the options. How you choose the options and how you're going to make them work for you is a totally different ballgame that you are going to have to map out. Or you can say you want to have a call to be able to decide how you map it out, but you must have a plan. But bottom line for you, before you even have a plan, is understanding all the options and how it is that you do it better. Once you're able to think through these things strategically, you think through them clearly, you're able to say, oh, this is this is that, or you know whether it's that, you're already halfway through being able to do and save yourself from heartache. Okay, so is real estate investment same as REITs? Yes, please talk on REITs. Hey, now, wow. Come, are you people sure that you're not the ones that are here already doing real estate? You people are advanced, but okay, yes, I will talk on REITs a bit, also because it's similar to and one of the ways that it is that we can create wealth through real estate. Now, the next point that I want to talk about would be short letting. Everybody that wants to buy apartment and rent out is thinking, I want to short let my apartment because you say it's going to give you so much more rent. Now, there's one part of short lets that people always forget when they are planning, and that is management and maintenance. Now, short lets, yes, they can give you money. Yes, you will make money. You will collect your money when people are paying you money, but you will pay money. And that is just the truth. I know that because I manage short lets for people, and each time we come to that point of remittances and how it is that the apartment has worked, that's when myself and the landlords, we start to fight. Because when you now tell them that you're spending X amount of money on managing the apartment, they now start being like, why? Why is it so high? Why can't it be this? Why can't it be that? But the truth of the matter is that when the clients was coming into the apartment and they were booking your apartment, you were not asking why can't it be less, right? So when you're going into short lets, right, always remember that you are going to be, one, competing with like hotels. 2, you're no longer just in the real estate business, you are now in the lifestyle business. And that means that you have to focus on making sure that the option you choose can serve and meet every single one that relates to making people's life comfortable. Electricity, accessibility, services, internet, all of that, all of these things have to be top notch when you're doing your planning for short letting business, right? And you also have to consider the fact that people will go in there and they will damage your property. So you must have a plan for how you're going to manage, or somebody that is experienced that you're going to give it to manage. I always tell people, I say, never manage a short let yourself if it's not your full-time job. because it will become your full-time job. People will call you at 10 p.m. at night and tell you how something is wrong, and you have to fix it. If you don't fix it that night, by the time it's morning, they have badmouthed you, they have run you down. You have a cranky client that is going to just literally be spreading bad reviews all around, right? So I always tell people, if you're thinking shortlets, think of it top to bottom. Have somebody that understands shortlets that can walk you through the entire process. Think through that entire process when you're buying your apartment. A lot of developers will tell you, this apartment is good for shortlets. This apartment is this. One thing you have to remember, and I say this with all sincerity, I've been an agent, I still sell properties, but you see, the agent and the developer, what they want to do is make money for themselves. They're not looking out for you. They are looking out for, how fast can I sell my apartments? They're looking out for, what do I tell you that will make you buy my apartment? Come rain, come sunshine, just give me that money, take my apartment, I sign it off to you, and I have sold. And they're going around and they're saying, I have sold 20 flats, I've told 1 million houses, I've sold Kineko, I've sold this one, I've sold that one. But they know that what they're selling to you, that you cannot do shortlet honestly. But they will tell you that you can do shortlet. I'm saying this, as I said, I have been a realtor, I still act as a realtor, I still act as an agent, and I still sell property. And I tell people all the time, when I'm going to sell you a property, we will sit down. First thing I'll ask you is, why do you want to buy property? If you can answer that question, then we move forward. If you can't answer that question, we're going to sit down and have it tete-a-tete. Because if you don't get that part right, you will buy property that you will hate me for. And I don't want people to hate me. Why? Because I want to keep my clients. I want to keep people able to say, oh, I bought from Lerato and Lerato helped me to start my journey. That's my goal. My goal is to help people build their wealth portfolio building journey. You know, to be able to say, I didn't buy one property from Lerato. I have bought all my properties through Lerato. Lerato has kept all my properties intact, understanding how one connects to the other, how one connects to the other. If they don't connect, they serve their different purposes and they move forward. You say, yes, you can see knowledge is very important. Yes, knowledge is very important. If you don't understand it, people will use you to achieve their own goals. I say this because it's happened to me before. I was the goal. It was my money that they were going to use to collect their commission, to collect their agency, to collect their whatever. And I learned my lesson. And I told them, I said, it's okay. I've learned, we move forward. But you see, the reason why that is dangerous now is because if everybody keeps going on like that and buying things that does not serve them, what happens at some point is that we will stop having people invest in real estate. And we need people to invest in real estate, because if people don't invest in real estate enough, what's going to happen is that all of us will suffer it, because supply and demand will start to matter. When there's very low supply and there's high demand, rents will go up. There's no two ways about it. One of the reasons why rents are so high now is because we do not have enough supply. We don't have enough people who are making money from real estate to stay in the business of making money in real estate. To stay in the business of making money in real estate means that they are investing in real estate. People have to consistently keep investing in real estate to ensure that everybody can make money. Which brings us to the next way that I say that people can make money in real estate. And this is because I've done it, I've helped people do it, and I help people consistently to do it. And now I've created a system and a model around it, and it's called co-investing. So remember that first set of people that I talked about, that 4 of them came together and put money together and they bought that 80 million naira, that 80 million naira one, first things first, right? Remember those people are there. What they did was co-investing. Essentially, all they did was they said, I have 10 million, I have 15 million, I have 30 million, I have this. They came together, brought 80 million to the table and bought the land. And they moved and they moved. Now, what they did, they all remembered how much they put into the deal. So everybody understands how much of the deal it is that they are responsible for. And they are sharing the profits in that same quantity. they are basically taking the ownership in that same quantity. If they sell this current property and they need to exit, everybody will take their money in the same percentage that they came in. Now, that is them doing it because they know themselves. That is them doing it without an official structure. That is them doing it on trust that they know each other. What about if they didn't all know each other? What about if only two of them knew each other and then one of them said, I know somebody else that can come in. Then they'll now start saying, how do we know who is going to be watching if we're fighting and who is going to watch if we're what and all of that? But see, what they will be looking at is that person has money, let's do it, right? But the truth of the matter is that it gets dicey when you now need to start introducing people that, one, you don't know, people you have not had a relationship with, and then one of you or all of you have to now agree to now do and pay attention as much as would be needed. It gets very dicey because different things will come up. It's very easy for fights to come up in those type of instances, right? So I've created a model that helps people to invest and co-invest without even knowing each other. So let's say there are how many of us on this call today? We're 32 on the call right now, right? 30 of us here say, oh, we have 1 million naira that we want to put into an investment. And then you now say, but number one, who knows real estate? Number two, who's going to manage it? How are we going to know who is what and who is what? One person says, I don't have 1 million, no, I have 2 million. I have 1.5, I have X, I have this. And then you now start having different dynamics come into the mix. It becomes difficult for you to be able to manage that manually, right? It means that some people are going to have to put in more work to be able to do this, right? And what I have then done is that I've created, one, the structure for people to be able to come and co-invest in real estate. Two, I've created the system where all of you who come and invest in real estate, you don't necessarily have to do the work. Why? Because I've created the structure. I do real estate for a living, and then I just take all of you as my client. So I have that, and that's where we say that's the co-investment model. Now, what does the co-investment model do, and how does it help you make money? In the situation where one person will probably say, oh, one flat is 20 million. I don't have 20 million, but you get 6 people who then say, we have 20 million or 20, 15, 60 million, and you come up with 100 million naira. Instead of buying one flat and then buying one flat in this person's name, all of you just come together, your 100 million naira, and you buy as much as that 100 million naira can essentially buy for you. All of you then become co-owners of that entire 100 million naira investment. Remember when I talked about the fact that if you're buying 1 unit and you're buying 2 units, you have more leverage when you're negotiating. So it means that when you come with an offer that says 20 million, but you are coming with 100 million, it means you have more leverage. You're able to tell the developer what your terms are, negotiate your terms. You're able to basically come into that picture owning the deal a whole lot more. Now imagine that you can layer on the ease of one, having a professional to essentially help you choose, vet, and oversee the deal. You also have a professional that understands how to manage property for you, and that means that that person also is doing it, which means that it essentially and truly becomes passive to you, that is the investor, because you don't have to wake up one morning and say, the property, the tenants say that they are fighting, let's go and see them and go and have a meeting with them. And then 20 of you are going to go and sit down with 4 tenants. You don't need all that because all of you have jobs. If you then tend to do it like that unofficially, it means that you would then be having to allocate, it would then become a problem, it will become difficult. And the truth of the matter is that the more difficult that entire process is, the easier it will be for more of you to drop off. So if in the first instance you had 25 people who were going on because of friction, because of this, because of that, 5 people will say, I'm not doing it again. The next one, you maybe have 20 people. and you keep going like that, what you find is that you just keep dropping off. Your power of investing essentially drops off, right? So this is what my community essentially does. We bring people together and we go out and look for deals. And we say, this is the deal, and this is how we can break it down. Each person can then come in and take up different percentages of the deal. And then you go in and you buy them. Now, somebody asked on here and said, oh, is real estate investment also the same thing as rates? Now, rates are a form of real estate investing. That means that they are a formalized structure that people use to invest in real estate. And it is similar to what I'm talking about, but I'm calling this co-investment or co-ownership, and rates are rates. And the reason why the names would have to differ is because of the legal structure behind each one of them. A rate is essentially something that has gone through a whole accreditation process, inclusive of SEC registration. But co-ownership and co-investment requires a lower level of registration that could work at a cooperative level, which means, yes, you would still have to have it, you'd still have to have that system registered, you still have to have a legal license to be able to do it, but it can be done on a cooperative level as against you having to go all the way to SEC. And that is essentially the difference for that. So if we were going to, okay, this is, Oluchukwu, you have a question in the comment section. If we're going to talk about rates, right? Rates essentially, as I said, are regulated by SEC. Sorry, I had to do that. Yeah, so rates are a formal structure that are essentially regulated by SEC. Rate stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. So you see the trust part of it has a whole lot of legalities around it. There are ways in which people can get in and people can't get out as simply. Whereas with co-ownership and co-investment, people who are in there can go in and can come out. And when they want to go in and when they want to come out, all they have to do is just look for how to just sell their own stake. So for people who then say, okay, so how exactly does it work, right? Think about shares. Every time you buy shares, you are buying into a fraction of that business. In this circumstance, real estate becomes the business. The real estate asset becomes the business. So we've talked about different ways that you can use real estate to make money. So take any one of them that you know that you're then going to use to make money. Whether it is commercial real estate, whether it is residential real estate, you are going into real estate, and that is what you're coming together to put money into. Everybody knows what percentage it is that they've put in, and they know what the total is, they know what the general outcome of that is, and that's why each person is coming into it. You know, so that essentially is how co-investment works. And that's another way that it is that people can use to create wealth in real estate. Now, we've talked about all the we've talked about majority of the baselines that people can use to create wealth in real estate, right? Now, the next part of creating wealth in real estate is the tracking. Now, the same way, I know because most of you are already using budget trackers and all of that, you need to be able to track your real estate. Now, every time I tell people you need to track your real estate, they're like, what am I tracking? Is it how much money it's making? Or is it how much I bought it? And, you know, what am I tracking? What you're tracking would be the rate of appreciation of that property. So when you're buying real estate, there are locations that would appreciate faster than other locations. There are locations that the way that they would appreciate would differ from other locations. Now, this is not to say that, oh, only go for options that would appreciate faster. Sometimes faster is not always what you need. Sometimes buying in low and then having that consistent growth would also be another way that it is that you do it. And When you're then going to track, what you're doing is you're tracking each and every one of them. Because remember, what you're trying to build is wealth. That means that you're looking for the value in the real estate. Real estate will pay you cash as returns. That's one part of how you make money in real estate. The next part of how you make money in real estate is the value appreciation that the property then becomes. So remember we talked about a flat that started out at 45 million, and after a period of time, it became 90 million. When you're calculating what your wealth is not necessarily the money that your flat is making for you, but it is the money your flat is making for you, plus the current new value of the property, which means that you're looking at it from a returns perspective in terms of cash, and you're looking at it also from the new value that it is in terms of capital appreciation and value appreciation. When you put all of those together, that becomes the new value of the property that you have, which means that your net worth is now different. You bought the property at 45 million, you were not earning rent. The property became 80 million and you were earning 2 million naira every quarter. That becomes your value, because that means that the property is not just worth 80 million, but it is worth 80 million plus X as a turnkey because it is actively earning money. So when you're thinking about how to track and how to build wealth, you have, through real estate, you have to think about the two of them. Whether you're buying land, you're buying built up apartments, you're buying houses, whatever it is, like you have to think about the two things. And this brings us back to the example I made in the beginning, where you have people who have bought land in Ibeju-Lekki for over 12 years. They paid 800,000, 1.2 million, 1 point whatever million. 12 years down the line, they cannot sell those assets because there's no real value that people are going to buy into. Those assets have not made them money. They've not paid rent on them. If they're going to try to go into check, okay, what is it with this? They will probably even spend money to be able to retrace their steps in terms of all of those things. So when you then think about buying land, make sure that you're thinking about it from the perspective of you either know why you're buying the land and what it is that you're going for, or you know that you're buying this land because you want to just lock it away and store value. Store value for how long? That's something you're going to have to answer for yourself. Store value to achieve what end result, you are also going to have to know that for yourself. I hope that we're clear. I hope that that this has been insightful. I've got, we're like 8:30 now, so let's answer some questions. I'm sorry, I know we've been answering them as we go, but yes. So before I go back to the agriculture question, yes, who has questions? Let's start from who has questions, active questions now, before we go back to the person that asked about agriculture. So now is the time to ask you questions. Thank you. Sorry, Jenna, the back and forth was a bit distracting. Sorry about that, but I think we're on track. I mean,
yeah. I think we can go ahead. Maybe we'll give you a bit of time to sip water, but I think we can go ahead to answer the agricultural question, because from what you did, you literally went into every single thing and giving so many examples. So most of the questions that we had from the beginning have been cleared, like really clear.
Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
Agriculture.
Thank you. Okay, yes, I'm going to go look for that question now. Okay, Meg. Okay, no, Edwin has a raised hand.
Okay. Yes.
After the question, after answering next question.
After answering the agriculture question, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, so Meg, can you please unmute? Let's have your session now. All the chickens is free consulting. Now, let's go.
Like you people, you don't
Hmm.
know the value you're getting for free. Like if you
Please,
have to go through the corner,
consultation is 200,000. If we do it now, we're doing it. So I'm giving you people my money.
just like that, like 1 whole hour of pure immense
Mm.
value. People should just go and bring your coins. So it's not just, oh, thank you, I learned
Coins,
it.
yes, so coins.
Be
So.
ready.
Okay,
Okay.
Meg, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening,
Okay.
Lerato.
Hi,
Thank you
how
for
are you?
this session. I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you
Okay.
so much. This has been absolutely intense and very educating and enlightening. So I got into a conversation with a realtor, and he was convincing me to get one of their properties. I don't think I'll call it property. Well, it is that, but what the project they are currently running is an estate, and all they are doing in that estate is that they are doing agriculture, planting these palm trees, so that they can, it takes 3 years for the trees to grow and start bearing fruit, according to, because I didn't know that. So we had a conversation.
Yeah.
And so after the whole 3 years, you will not start getting returns on your investment, and it will be as per the market value of a gallon of palm oil. Yes, so market value, and you're getting about 33 liters depending on the plots you are buying. I wanted to get a plot.
Okay.
So I think for one plot it was 33 liters of palm oil. But I just have major concerns because, number one, I cannot build on this land. That's one of the concerns. Number two, I am not going to join him to harvest this, palm oil. Like, I don't even know if you would do more than 33 liters, because you are not going to allow me into, because I mean, it's my land. So why am I not being allowed to watch the whole production process? So I had this question in my head, and I wanted to discuss them with someone that wasn't him, because I'm sure he can answer the questions, because they want to sell, of course. So I wanted to discuss with someone that wasn't him, and hear what you have to say about this kind of investments. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the things you would advise? Would you, as a person, want to go into this kind of investment?
Okay. So,
and the second question, because I asked two questions, the second question, so what do you think about this paying in installments? So I had a client that spoke to me recently about wanting to buy real estate, but she doesn't have enough. So the realtor told her that she should spread it, pay small for about, I think he said 2 years. He gave her the amount that she would pay. I think she said the location was Redeem side.
What's she buying? What's she buying? Land or house?
Land.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? Because in my head, it's given they can dupe you at any point. You may know this person, but 2 years is a long time. I mean, so I just want to hear your perspective about these two things.
You're basically answering that question yourself, right? And I say this because I say the first thing that as an investor you have to also consider is your intuition. You've answered the first thing. 2 years is a long time, right? Because I sell land, I've sold land, I've sold this. I know that people who tend to allow you to pay for land over 2 years, there's a lot about that land, and I'll make guesses over this land that your person is trying to buy. Number one, it does not have a perfected title like a C of O or a governor's consent. What it has is maybe a registered survey. Am I correct?
Yes, Lerato, you're correct.
The land is in okay, you already mentioned that it's, did you mention where it was? I think, but I can tell the land is in a remote-ish area that is not necessarily
that-
currently.
That Redeem area in Lagos. I don't know if you stay in Lagos.
Yes.
So that Redeem area in Lagos.
That's so you see what I mean, right? So personally, I wouldn't buy land that I'll pay for 2 years. And the reason for that is in that 2 years, that land will not be my own. Number two, in 2 years, because of the way the Lagos state government is moving as relates to land, in 2 years, a lot can happen that even that company will lose that land. Because if you understand the way that real estate companies that sell land, they deal, you would understand why half of the problems that we have as relates to land ownership and, I mean, transferring and allocation and all of that, you would understand why half of those things happen. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of these companies don't buy these lands, they don't get these lands from the government because they themselves don't want to, they won't commit their money. So typical example, a development company goes to an area and says, oh, they're looking for land in this area, and because they want to build, they want to sell, they want to design an estate, they want to sell the land to people, blah, 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 blah. In most of these areas, there are families that customarily own these lands. So those families will now come and say, we have 20 acres here. You can come and you can take 10 acres. An acre is essentially 6 plots of land. So you take 10 acres, that means that you have 60 plots. If you want to go more, you go more, fine. But what is important to note is that most of these development companies don't pay for that land outright to the families, which means that they also now have an agreement with the families that says that they will be paying them in batches. So they come, they sell to people, they take the money that these people have paid for the land, and then they are remitting and paying to these families. Now, what's happening now with a lot of these families is that they are also becoming, one, greedy, two, impatient, because these families also have multiple people inside. One person in the family can come and say, no, this money is not enough. I have somebody else that is willing to pay X amount of money. In 2 years, a lot can happen. If they have not held that deal properly, and they will never tell you whether they've held that deal properly, what would then happen is that your clients would have probably finished paying in 4 months. And then you will now come back and you'll be trying to get allocation for your clients. And then they now come with stories that touch. And those stories that touch will now start to affect everybody. And then what happens is that there's no allocation. And then you people are running helter to skelter and helter to whatever. And then they're telling you about how the family is the one that is wicked and something happened to the land. When bottom line is that they did not even fully own the land by the fact that they would have paid for it, they would have gone to register that land in their name. That's how they would have owned the land to be able to sell it. That's how they should have. But what they have done is they have come to a contractual agreement with the initial owners of the land for them to be able to pay small, and agree that they will be paying the owner as they are selling. So answer to your question, personally, I wouldn't pay for land over 2 years. 2 years is too long, especially now in Lagos. And I feel for people who then don't have the money one time to be able to buy. And I say that it's safer not to than to do it and start and then you get stuck. So I've answered that question. Personally, I wouldn't buy land and pay for 2 years. Going back to the original one about the farm, what are the loopholes? What are the pros and cons? What are the whatever? So there's this thing now that real estate people are now starting to do, and it is this thing of going to go and sell land for agricultural purposes. What they don't tell you, and what you will never know, is that they don't have anybody with a real agricultural background or agricultural business management or agricultural business structuring on their team. And what that then does is that they are hiring local farmers to go and then do the farming. And those local farmers have given them estimates of how much it is that can come out from the farm, and then they do it. If you ask that person now, who is your agricultural team? You will start hearing, we have a consultant that's something. So what are the pros and cons? If you want to buy land that they are offering you on agriculture, on an agricultural basis, that means that what you're investing in, quote and unquote, is the farm. Don't think about it as you're investing in real estate. Think about it that you're investing in a farm that does palm, a farm that is going to be selling palm oil. Think about it. Think about the business like that, and then ask all the questions that you will ask for that. And then that is where you will now come about your decision. Should you go forward or should you not go forward? If you cannot see how they want to run that asset like a business and get out the produce as a business, then you're playing kalu-kalu. You're playing Ludo, essentially, with your money. And because they've told you, they'll say you can only get it in 3 years, which is the truth, because palm trees will need that amount of time, of which I think palm is even longer than 3 years, I think. But what I mean is you would then essentially just be locking yourself in for that whole period of time for the possibility that you will get that return. Whereas if you had done real estate as real estate, you will know that you're doing real estate as real estate, not that you're doing real estate for agriculture, for this product in agriculture. And I also would say that in terms of a pro, it becomes a luck situation. In 3 years, the price of palm oil may have doubled or quadrupled or whatever. Excuse me. That would become the potential income that it is that you can earn. But you have to think about it from what exactly is it that you're investing in? Is it land or is it the agriculture? Whatever it is that's going to pay you is what it is that you are investing in. Because that then becomes what you then assess, what then you then think about, and what you then say, oh, okay, how is it that this is going to work? I would have preferred if they had said, we are buying this land, you own this size of land, but we are doing it because we need to farm on 10 hectares of land to be able to get palm produce that is spread across 10 hectares of land. If you bought the size of 1 hectare of land, then that means that your own share of whatever it is that comes out of that becomes 1/10 of whatever is put into it. When they gave you this price, did they give you a costing of what it will cost for what agricultural people call inputs? That's the things, the seeds, did they give you that breakdown also?
So this plan, it had a plan that, okay, you can pay this amount every month, and after you pay that particular amount, I think it was about 599 for 6 months. He divided it into 6 months. So after you pay that amount, you also pay for, is it maintenance and everything amounted to, for the 1 plot, everything amounted to about 1 point something million.
Yeah, so when you look at the breakdown, when you look at the breakdown of those things, what are the things that are being covered there?
Sorry, I don't know. Can I share it with you on Instagram? I'm about to search for the image he sends.
Anyway,
okay, so
I'm saying, yeah, go ahead.
Put statutory charges per plot 150K, deed of assignment 100K, development 350K. And this is for one.
Yes. So I'm not hearing. So what I'm not hearing in the offer that you've been given is, where's the money that they are going to use to plant the palm things and all of that? I'm not hearing that money in this breakdown that they've given you, right? Do you get? Which means that they either are going to get somebody else who is going to finance that part of it, and that person is also going to get a cost of that from. Do you understand what I mean? So technically speaking, what they're saying is that you should come and buy land that they will lease out to somebody else that would then use it to do farm and palm, and then you would then get a certain amount of money. It's not very clear. That's just what I'm saying to you, right? So when you look at pros and cons, you have to be able to see every single element. This is why I say, go back, sit down, and consider this entire offer like you are investing in a palm business. Think about all the things that should be there. I can't see the seedlings. I can't see care for the palm. I can't see clearing. I can't hear anything about clearing. I can't hear anything about that. All the things that they've listed for you essentially fall under the categories of things that they would do when you just buy land. And I can bet with you that that land also is not a titled land. Does it have a C of O, a governor's consent, or an excision?
It doesn't have any of, the only thing I can see on this place is deed of assignment, 100K. I'm not seeing anything else.
That no, I can tell you that land is not that land is not titled, which means that if something happens, you don't even have the land to take back. Do you get what I mean? Because if you're investing in it for agriculture, right? Even if the agriculture doesn't work out, you should be able to have the land. But if that land if the land is not even titled, and this is in Lagos, correct? Or is it Ogun State?
It's Ogun State, it's not in Lagos.
Okay, so in Ogun State, what you should be getting if you're going to get ownership of the land is some ratification, right? What they're offering to give you is a deed of assignment, which means that even if you try to go to the state can tell you that the person who initially owned the large expanse of land has not registered that they have given to you people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Right. Okay, so I remember that somebody, so I hope I've helped you think through that question properly.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm not saying that it's a scam. I'm just saying that there's not enough information to give me the confidence to say, I want to invest in this thing. If they can give you any of all of these things, then all well and good. But if you're going to buy land and the opportunity on top of it is the fact that it's going to be used for agriculture, please make sure that at the very least you can come out with the land, even if the agriculture doesn't work. So I remember that somebody asked here and said, oh, how do you know when a land is legal and what documentations it is that you need to be able to get when you are buying land or property? Now, the first thing that you would have to get would be a contract of sale. A contract of sale would explain, oh, that yes, you are buying this property and blah, blah, blah. These are the terms, these are the whatevers. It would state what your payment terms are, and then you would move forward. Your receipts at every point in time, make sure that you keep them. Receipts that your transfer, ways that you transfer money to them, the acknowledgements that they send to you, those are proof that you sent them money and they have acknowledged the money. If they give you receipts, fine. If they don't give you receipts, those acknowledgements are enough. Next is a survey of the land or the property that you have bought. What that tells you is it tells you where your land is. So if you have bought, say this living room that I'm in, right? And then I bought 1/4 of the living room, I must have a survey that shows me my 1/4 and shows me where the paths are, where the dividers are, where the road is going to be. It must show all of that. That's essentially what a survey would look like. Okay, I would look for a survey and I would impute it in the notes that I'll send to Oluchukwu so that everybody can at least have them to go away with, right? So you'd have a survey. After you have a survey, you have to have a deed of assignment. A deed of assignment essentially is the agreement, that's the legal agreement that is binding between yourself as a buyer and the seller. That says that yes, that this and this and these are the details of the property, which will show the initial owners, which will show the titles that it has, which will show how that person came about it, and the fact that that person has agreed to sell to you, and they will put a short description about you, where you stay, where you whatever, and this is why these are the terms in which you've agreed to buy the property. They would also have to state that they acknowledge that that land and that property has no encumbrances, and they would have to put the proof into it. Please, before you buy any property, go and do what we call a due diligence search. A due diligence search is quite extensive. It's definitely not something we can talk about tonight. So you would get a deed of assignment, and then you, as the new owner, then have to take your deed of assignment to the state to go and register it, so that the state then knows that you have bought land or you have bought that property. Because the state has a registry in which they keep as many properties that people come to register as much as possible. So that is an overview of the documents that you need when it is that you're buying property, for you to ensure that you have the legal ownership of that property. Okay, so I am going down. Oh, okay, is real estate the same as rates? I've explained that. I'm a total novice to real estate. I want to be a realtor and invest as well. How can I get started? Yeah, Grace, I would say you start from investing. And this is why. When you invest, you are in it. You get practical knowledge. You get practical experience for what it is. I started out by being a realtor, and I learned on the job. I learned. And that learning can be hard, because as you're learning, it means that you're probably not making money. And because you are on the job, you expect that you need to make money. And when you now don't make money, you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, tendency is there for you to, one, learn shortcuts, two, start to try and cut corners, and desperation and whatever will get involved. If you're an investor, what happens is that you're investing, you're learning, and you're asking the questions. So you're in it, you're getting all that insight, and you're getting all that opportunity, and you know it for yourself. You would better be able to put people through a process that you have gone through, as against you not having gone through it, and then you're trying to put people through it just because you have theoretical knowledge, right? So that's that. Please give examples of rates companies. So in Nigeria, rate companies are not common. Currently, I think we have maybe, they're not, and that's the thing, they're not companies as such, they're trusts. So they're registered as a trust themselves. UPDC has one. Right now, for some reason, I can't remember, but essentially there may be about 6 or 7, very few in Nigeria, they're less than 10. And by law, they technically can't even become so much more than that. But if you just go online, just Google and just type in rates in Nigeria, you would essentially see the ones that are available. As far as I know, the people that are in there, they do not exit, so they are always maxed out, and they almost can't do anything more out of there. There's some law that kind of just prevents them from being able to expand, and then or be able to take on more projects, and they are essentially maxed out, so they're not able to grow or take in more work. Helen says, how does it work? Okay, I think I've explained how does it work. Jenna, as a realtor, how can I get more jobs, and how can I get legit agents and companies, pitch them, and make more sales? Sorry, Jenna, I don't quite understand that. Can you please come up so that we talk about that? My question, how do you get out of a land that you buy for investment, e.g. you buy from all the companies selling lands? Tosin, tell them that you, hey God, okay, so see, this is the thing. Simplest way is that you tell that company that sold you the land to tell that they should sell that land for you. However, if you do it that way, they will call a clause that they have added into the sales agreement, which essentially says that they will take a certain percentage of your money. And what would then happen is that you would probably be selling at whatever rate it is that they tell you that it is. I have a few questions. Tosin, Tosin or Jenna, please, which one of you can come up first? Let's do this. Edwin has a raised hand. Sorry, Edwin, 1 second. See what experience can. Okay, who is this?
Tosin is here. Sorry, my
Okay, hi.
background is
No problem, it's fine. Just, how are you?
the insight. Okay, so I'll just say it straight. I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when I had my son, I bought a land. There is this advert then, young landlord. I had to buy a land, pay like every month to make it up. Like maybe I paid for 2 years. Yes, thereabouts too. So I know I collected all my receipts, and even when I finished paying, I collected this stuff. So I've even forgotten about it. So recently I was like, I needed money for business. And I was like, this land, though, let me even reach out to this lady. What's the land worth now? She said to me, oh, the land is worth this, so. And I was like, okay, can you help me to sell it? And it was, since then, it's been radio silent. And I was like, God. Now, it's in an estate. The estate is not too far from Goshen. I'm in Abuja, so it's not too far from Goshen. That's the Living Faith Goshen. I know that the first phase has been developed. I think the second phase, which is the land, as people have started building in it, but it's not something I want to do now because I know by the time you want to build, you'll be giving different bill to come and pay, maybe streets, street development stuff like that. So it's not something I have the power to do now. But I'm feeling that, oh, if I get this money, I can do something better with it, and I can. So I reached out, but it's been radio silent. So I'm just asking that how do I go about it now? Because just we can sell it. She was like, it's worth so now. And I was like, wow, that's.
Are they still selling land? Are they still selling land in that estate?
Can we sell it?
Are they still selling land in that estate?
I will have to check. I'm not sure. Maybe they finished selling it because the land that thing has really. I'm talking of a land that is not up to 1 million that time, but it's like what's over 7 million right now. So I think they finished selling the land in that place.
Yeah.
It's not on their stuff again. But since the day I said, okay, can we sell it or something now, it's been radio silent. And I was like, okay, what do I do? How do I go about this? So
okay, all right.
I'm asking.
Okay, fine. So the context that you have given me helps. So the reason why I'm asking if they're still selling land in that estate is that if they were still selling land in that estate, the price that they are selling currently is what you should try to aim to sell for. Most times when people ask their agents, oh, this land that I bought, how much is it now? They will give you the higher amounts. And a lot of times, the higher amount that they gave you is not what you can then sell it for. So if they're still selling land in that estate, try and find out if they're still selling, and then try to tell the company or the company that is managing the estate and say you want to sell your land. What may happen is that they will have somebody who is interested because they see that people are starting to build there. And then that person would have contacted the company to say, oh, that if they know anybody that wants to sell, that they want to sell. So try and reach out to the company. What I suspect that is happening is that she doesn't know how to sell it. So that's why she has gone quiet. And then you would now be there waiting and hanging. So try and reach out to the company and say, oh, that you have a land that you want to resell. Don't say you want to exit. Say you want to resell. So that way, where you will agree on how you would, when they tell you how much do you want to resell it, ask them how much it is that people are buying, you know, and then as much as possible, try and take control of the price, of the pricing, and look, and just gauge it based on what it is in the area. It's going to be a bit dicey because now you're trying to be smart so they don't outsmart you, you know, but you just essentially have to do a bit of research. Try and find out how much people are buying land in that area, how much it is that other estates are selling, and all of that. If you're going to come down on price, let them know that you're coming down on price because you want to sell it quickly and move on. The faster it is that you can get your money out of it, the faster it is you can put your money into something else and you can move on from there without having headaches, right?
Yes, I appreciate this.
Great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. What's my opinion about real estate cashback? I hate it. And I'll explain to you why I hate it. It is essentially a system where you are robbing Peter to pay Paul, essentially, because there's no business that is. Jenna, please just come, unmute yourself, and then you can go. There's essentially no business that is layered on to the real estate that they are using to do that cashback. So my opinion, I hate it. That's what this thing that really, yeah, they're saying that they'll give you returns after 12 months. I'm very biased about it and all of that. So answer to the question, I hate it. I don't offer it. I don't do it. I don't see how it will not end in premium tiers for literally everybody that keeps going back into it. Some people may be lucky, may have gotten their money, but I don't base investments and theoretical planning or strategic planning for investments based on luck. There has to be something that goes forward or goes parallel to make sure that that money is going to come out and stuff like that, right? Jonah, are you here?
Okay. Can you hear me, Ma?
Yep. How are you? Go. So you're asking, you say, how can you get more jobs? How can you get legit agents and companies, pitch them and make more sales?
Yes.
Explain, please.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm still a student. I'm studying law in 200 level. So I felt like I could not like go into real estate fully. So I decided to become a realtor first. And I think I'm finding it difficult to know real agents because there's a lot of fakes, and also to know how to pitch them in order to get a deal with them, and just how I can get more jobs and get paid more. Just basically how to become a realtor. And
You're in 200 level law. What school?
Unidel, University of Delta in Agbo.
So you're essentially in Agbo.
Yes, currently. I'm not in Agbo currently.
No, what I mean, when you're in school, you're in Agbo.
Yes.
When you're not in school, where are you?
I'm currently on holiday, so I'm at home.
Yeah, where's home?
Port Harcourt.
Okay. I don't think that you should try to be a realtor. You're a lawyer already, or you're going to be a lawyer. So face your lane, right? Now,
okay.
Another thing that a lot of people misunderstand or take wrongly is that they think that the only way to make money in real estate is by being a realtor. It's not the only way to make money in terms of your job. It's not the only way to make money as a realtor. Lawyers make money. Estate surveyors can make money. They just don't face their business. Facility managers can make money. They just don't face their business.
Okay.
You know, there are different things. There are different ways. If you think about the real estate value chain, you will find that there's a job for every single profession in that entire ecosystem that everybody can then make money by doing their own job. What happens nowadays is that everybody wants to become the realtor, the lawyer, the facility manager, the estate manager, the whatever, all in one, so that they can think that they are making all of that money. And what happens then is that when you try to make all the money, you make very little money, because you then have to do extra work to get people to trust you, to be able to validate that contract and validate that transaction. You're a lawyer, or you're going to be a lawyer, stay a lawyer, or don't be a lawyer. Decide what you want to do, but don't try to be a realtor because you say that's the way that you can make money from real estate. I mean, by that, be a lawyer. A lawyer would guide and help people to review contracts, help people to do what we call due diligence, would help people to do titling, would help people to do land registration. Those are jobs for lawyers. There are legal elements to every contract, every transaction that should be done by a lawyer. But because people try to cut corners and whatever, that's why lawyers think that the way that they can make money is in real estate. Lawyers cannot and should not be making money in real estate. They should be making money in real estate by being lawyers in real estate. So I would say that
by being probably
lawyers in real estate. So you can be a lawyer in real estate and make your money instead of saying you want to become a realtor. By the time you say you want to become a realtor, you are dropping your law status, and then you are saying that you want to go and be hawking real estate, literally, because that's what it is that you're doing. But if you remain a lawyer and you learn and you understand everything about real estate law, my dear, you'll be hot cake. So what you should be pitching is how you can use your law experience, and you need to go and learn. Despite the fact that you're in 200 level, there's always somewhere that you can start from. You can start by drafting the agreement that a senior lawyer would then oversee and then would then be the one to put their sign on. You can start from there, and then you get paid for that. And as you do that, what happens is that you are learning. Don't be in a hurry to start saying, oh, that you want to start selling and you want to start making money from it and all of that and all of that. You can be the lawyer that is introducing clients to realtors. Does that make sense?
So you mean like going to property law?
Yes, ma'am. So that's one of the things that you can consider doing, yes. And you can decide to go into commercial law. If you go into commercial law, at least one of the things that you can do is real estate as a commercial lawyer.
Okay, thank you so much, ma.
Gotcha. Edwin, please come up. Sorry, I hope that's your name. I apologize. As I saw Edwin as part of the name.
Yes, Edwin is the name. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
How are
Let's
you?
thank you for your time and then this invaluable knowledge you've shared. We really appreciate our host for helping us with this. So my key question, it's not really a question, it's just for us to establish something today. That's why I had to wait patiently for everybody to be done with the question. You said something about a product that will involve every one of us, more like with the scenario you explained with the three friends who came together and you were like, we could have something similar to that as a theme. So I think the YPF community, we do have different sections where we have investors, platforms, savings, and the rest. So I don't know. I think this has to do with Ms. Oluchi coming in on the call to probably let us know if this is something as to we all can all do. I don't know if it exists already, but if it's something as to we can all do together. So that would leave us to you throwing more light on how it works. I want to believe it's not similar to the ones that we see where people come and tell you they are real estate agency, come and invest your money, bring in so amount of money, they help you buy land, and then after 6 months or after 1 year, you come back and take your capital and your profits. They give you a check. And by the time, so I've seen that one before, but when I investigated it with my lawyer, it didn't come out clean in the sense that there was no real land. Nobody was really buying any land at all. And so it was, we had to question the fact, where are they exactly making the profits that they intend to give us back? I know they give us an open, in that regard, they give us check and all of those things, but we could not really trace the land. We were ready to put in the bulk money, but there was literally no land that we could say, okay, this is the address to the land and all of those things. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen such kind of organization. So we want to know if it's something similar to that, or this is a new package you're trying to bring in for us. Like, we just want to understand how it works. Just tell us a little about your own company so that we can better make good use of this call to probably bet something today. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so since I seem to have answered all the questions that have been on the call, I'll just take this on as, and we'll wrap up for the evening. So what I've done with my company is that I've set up the cooperative system. And what we then do is that we bring apartments and we break down the cost to allow people to invest within those apartments. So we take as many people as can come in, and you take up what we call unit shares of the apartment. Each apartment is essentially split into about 100 units, which means that your minimum investment would be 1% of the cost of the total thing. So if the cost of acquiring a apartment, furnishing it, or just setting it up for rent is going to cost, say, 100 million, for example, that means 1% is like a million thereabouts. And that will be inclusive of fees and all of that. So you don't pay any other money apart from your investment. And then the apartment essentially goes live, and each person basically starts to get their own returns in the same percentage of their investment. The payments back to the investors are done routinely. We currently are offering to pay on a quarterly basis. And that means that people would essentially get so you would know how much it is that we're saying you can earn in a year, but we would pay you quarterly. Or if you opt and say, no, you want to be paid yearly, then we can note you and put you on a yearly dividend release option, and we will go from there. All our properties have addresses. All our properties are available. If somebody wants to come and visit and see them, they're all there. We send out reports, we send out status updates. We would also have a dashboard that would allow you to see all of this information at a go and at a glance, so that even as you go, you can basically see and track your investment, so you know how it is that it is growing and how it is that your investment and your capital is also going. You'd also be able to get notifications of when it is that your payments are ready, and then you essentially go like that. Yes, so that is an overview of what we offer. And our goal, for us, the goal is to essentially build a portfolio of cash flowing real estate that would always be up for rent, and our investors will keep making money off of. We would always analyze each deal on a case-by-case basis. So if we notice at a certain time that, oh, it's good for us to exit from this property and go into this property, we would make that offer out to the investors, because technically speaking, all the people that have invested are the owners of the flat. We are just the ones that are managing and operating the investment for them. We would make the offer to everybody and say, this is what we think, these are the reasons, these are the reasons, this are the that. If people say yes, they say yes. Those that say no, then we say that we just essentially help people to balance out as much as possible. So that is the opportunity. Yes, we do have a few options that are open currently. And I can share that, I definitely share that information with Oluchukwu, especially since some of you are interested, and that way you guys can decide how it is that you want to come in, or how it is that you want to be able to start investing. What I'll do is, because you guys are already a part of Oluchukwu's community, and I also have a community, I'll try to prevent duplicity, and we'll find a way, we'll agree on a way that we can collaborate in a way that we are part of your investment arm. That means that we will be able to share investment opportunities that we have in real estate, or maybe if she would create a real estate subcommittee, I'll have that discussion with her, and then we'll agree on something, and we'll look at it from that angle. So people who want to invest in real estate can then take advantage of that opportunity and always have access to our offers and things that would learn from there, and then we'll take it on from there. But I'll send Oluchukwu the notes that will come out, that should have been, that are from this session. I would also include an example of what a survey looks like. And I'll also send information of the investment. So thank you so very much, everybody. We've spent 2 hours. Yo!
Yay, like a
Yes.
whooping 2 hours. Can I get some claps? Can I get some thank you? Can you see how she broke down real estate to like almost dumb it down to show you that, okay, this is what you're meant to be doing. This is what you're meant. So please, can I see a lot of thank you, a lot of claps, a lot of emojis? She already promised us notes. She promised us to show us what is of it. Like, really, who does that? And guess what? She did not charge us a dime for this. 2 whooping hours, right? So Mr. Ego says he's a cheerleader.
Yes.
Well, yes.
I can tell you, say I'm a cheerleader, man.
Thank you so much, Director, for this. I really do appreciate. And for those of you that were in and out that think that, oh, you've missed a lot, not to worry. I'll get the recording out as soon as possible, hopefully by tomorrow, and we can have that distributed to everyone who registered and to everyone who wants to watch the recording. I'll post the link on the community as well and send it via email as well to everyone who registered. So don't worry, don't even start asking first of all. Thank you to Loretto. And I think another thing we can do is probably do a screenshot of this and tag her, the Nigerian Realtor, on Instagram to show that, yes, you did enjoy. So funny thing is, Loretto, I was going to mention, as you've been speaking on the community, a couple of people have already gone to the community and say, we're gaining a lot, we're gaining a lot. Please, oh, she must see. Let her see that.
Yes, so please, I beg you people,
Not just saying,
you know what?
A lot.
Please. Yes, so it's not, so I tell people this thing, I say, you can always get knowledge, you can always hear and learn things, but if you don't implement, you don't move forward. And for me, that's just the thing. So please, in as much as, yes, you will say, oh, yeah, so please, when you take screenshot, please tag me. Let me see. Let me at least know some of you that are saying, oh, this is what you did. Tag me on Instagram, please. I would at least repost. I'll say thank you again. And please take action. I'll send the information so that we can make sure we take action. I know Oluchukwu likes people that take action, so I will leave her to drag you people. Is dragging. But I know that, I mean, our conversations here will not drag too much. So let's make money, people. Let's make sure that everything can be fantastic as we go. People don't have bad experiences. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the time. I appreciate that you have come to get out of my knowledge. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Loretto, and thank you to everyone who stayed to the end. Do have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and this will be around the size of today's webinar. If you have more questions, you can drop them on the community and I'll answer them. But this is around the size. And another thank you for staying to the end. We had like a very good what's it called, lunch rate. Like people were here more than an hour, 30 minutes listening to this, and it does mean a whole lot that you people are ready to learn, and I cannot wait for us to start making this money together, right? So we're going to move the conversation to the community, and I'm going to see you. So bye for now, everyone. Thank you, Loretto, one more time.
Bye.